were hired to support the end client in not only the migration to Oracle Fusion, but also the readiness work up front.
So it's rare to achieve exactly on time within budget, but that's why we did it.
If you create and build walls between the client, the delivery partner, the consultancy client-side partner, you're never going to deliver a successful project.
So we were hired to deliver a business transformation program.
Shape were hired to support the end client in not only the migration to Oracle Fusion, but also the readiness work up front, and also the post-go live activities into BAU.
Nothing in particular as such, but the education part of customer, we wanted to make sure that they are fully educated of what is coming on their way as part of the business transformation. We went live as per the plan. So it's rare to achieve exactly on time within budget, but that's why we did it.
So our starting position was a bit different in that our ERP is going out of support. We don't know whether we need to take an upgrade, replace. So we guided the client through that options analysis, which ultimately led to then a decision being made that we are going to replace and go for a single ERP, but also get ready to start the implementation, which is a significant project for any organization.
Interesting thing for me about all of this is a lot of projects that Mastek have been involved in over a long period of time run into difficulties, run into problems because the client, quite frankly, doesn't really know what they're doing. So you really need to have somebody from a consultancy with a consultancy expertise background that sits client side, as we would describe it, to do exactly what Justin has described.
I think the mindset at the very start of the program was very important to set the mindset of customer that, guys, you need to adopt this new solution and don't try to lift and shift your current ways of working. And that was very well taken and spread from top to bottom.
The way we always structured the program, understanding, some of what I call the core elements, and that is business change at the heart. And then finally, having a project team and a project structure that isn't just externals. And I would say that goes back, a small decision that, looking back now, was a big one, was making sure that we didn't proceed without having the right internal team as well. It's not just about external support, but ultimately they need that internal support as well. And we couple that and we enhance that, which then means that success carries on well beyond the project.
The key point to make here from my perspective is that if you create and build walls between the client, the delivery partner, the consultancy client-side partner, you're never going to deliver a successful project. So there was never any issue around who's doing what. That's my job, I should be doing now. We were very clear from day one that this had to be a collaborative, engaged exercise to ensure we delivered success.
That does add to it. I'd say we do act as that sponge in that we translate technical terms, technical meanings, and the technical language into language they will understand. But also we do that practically from a delivery point of view as well. So a lot of the work we do is working with Mastek and supporting them in structuring how they approach workshops, how they approach design, because we have the industry knowledge and more knowledge of what would be more acceptable to the client or what they're going to gel more to.
So we always worked as one team, as Justin and Peter said. First of all, between Mastek and Shape, we talk same language so we can understand the nuances around each phases of the program. If there are any challenges, we come up with the early warning in the steer course or the leadership meetings, and we lay the foundation upfront so that there are no surprises. And that could have been only possible because we understand same languages. We can understand, but like he mentioned, that the challenges around data.
As Justin said earlier, on time, under budget, speaks volumes about how this relationship works.
I would say one constant we always maintain is a steering group and a clear governance structure. We would never look to influence that unless it's just bringing people and taking people off. But in terms of day to day, it's all about being flexible, making sure we change, we advocate change, but it's important we change as an organisation as well to meet the needs of the client. A recent client, we started with daily calls. We've now gone to 2 calls a week. And we also have a project meeting that is now just with the functional areas and focus now on business change. It's all about it isn't just about people, it's about the problems as well. So the problems that you may be having may be on data. So we would take a view of, right, let's focus our sessions on data or have a separate one on data. The balancing act is always trying to juggle time and fixing the problem.
Yep. We like working together as organizations because we are successful together, because the partnership is open and collaborative.
Yeah.
But we are still 2 very independent organizations.
So it was, I mean, we started somewhere in October 23 and we set a deadline or a timeline for going live. And we met that timeline. And again, it was a phased delivery. So we kept on reviewing the project plan, discussing it, socializing the plan all across the board. So everybody knows what's coming on the way next, say, 90 days or 3 months. So it was very clear cut understanding, communication across the board with the delivery teams and customer teams and everybody. So it was well understood and well adopted.
And what we done at Dover was outline a full benefits case, of which when we completed the project, we could check back to. That was our measure of success, and budget and all of the project measures. But actually, the real measure that we left them, and particularly their board was passionate about, was justifying cash flow and non-cash flow benefits for delivering this project. I think initially there was an element of surprise, and then once we completed the project, it was very much an aberration of, wow, you've actually met the benefits we set, because they weren't that to actually pay back 5 years worth of project in terms of licensing costs, implementation in the 5-year period is a not a mean feat, and it shouldn't be underestimated. But that was all of that work going up front in terms of actually making sure that everything we do has a reason and a benefit that backs it up.
Even after that, we also went ahead with supporting them in their digital vision of 2050 as well. So we are partners with them on their digital vision of 2050. So that's how you create the trust with customer, and they know if we are there, they will be able to definitely successfully achieve their vision around that. So yeah.
We don't see many clients thinking about how they, that is the client, is going to deliver projects.
Yeah.
In fact, we've got some recent examples at the moment where, quite frankly, we've tried to introduce Shape into a project, and the client has said, "No, don't worry, we'll deal with that." But in a large majority of cases, projects fail because, quite frankly, the client doesn't know what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Education is the key part of it. So they know their business. They don't know how such transformation programs or any ERP programs work.
The analogy I use is, when you go and build a house, it'd be like not getting an architect. If you build a shed, you'll get away with it. But if you're building a 3-story house or extension, chances are you won't get away with it. And that's where I would present the scale. But typically an ERP puts you in a scale.
I like that. I think I might use that again.
But it is that, isn't it?
It is. You're absolutely right.
You're bringing in expertise.
Yeah.
In a lot of things, you don't question it. But there are things where you feel you can do it. But it's understanding the whole architecture and the cross-functional aspects for all the processes that mean that it isn't just finance. it's finance, it's procurement, it's HR. You're bringing all these elements together, and that's where it really lacks expertise.
Yeah.
It's too much of homework or a groundwork that we need to do with client. Whereas if we have an advisory partner consultancy sitting with customer, so customers see them as their extended family, and they will be open to share all their negatives, positives, everything with them, and then they know how to present it back to an SI like Mastek. That exactly what are the priorities, what should we be discussing with Mastek, and because we talk same language around there.
And you're adopting the best in class solution at the end of the day, but it's still an adoption process.
Yeah. And to be fair, the pain of that isn't necessarily in the project.
No.
It's 2 years later when upgrades don't work. You know, because we say you can't. There is ways of customizing. However, the pain
the future management. Yeah.
Exactly. The pain comes later. And that is a challenge. A lot of clients don't understand is the scripts are their responsibility is one big one. The management of testing is their responsibility. But also alongside that, you're cleansing data, you're getting the business ready. And one aspect we can bring to the table is extra capacity to support with those other areas. A good example being inventory, where, you know, we would go out and support a stock take. We're not about we leave our badge at the door. You know, we will get our hands dirty if it means the project is successful. That's the bit I don't think they appreciate, because you don't know that from the outset. So elements that we have seen where the need isn't there is elements where there is clear ownership within, you know, I use financial data as a good example. We're seeing more and more that actually financial data, because typically finance, you know, they're quite advanced with Excel, they understand it. Now there's the upfront guidance, but that guidance is tailed off the further we've got through the project. So there has been cases where, again, from the outset it's been needed, but further through it hasn't. So what we've done is either we, you know, we have a flexible model, but again, it's having that whole flexibility.
We do help in, say, for example, testing part of it in some form of Shape, or maybe data cleansing, because they know their data, but to transform their data into the data that Oracle or any ERP understands, there is a lot of work to be done. And data, as we know, is a very sensitive element to it as well. So getting that extra support in data migration activity, testing and all, it really is helpful for customer. And when we have set a, strict timelines, so that, because that is another part of our ROI as in part of the benefits that we need to look into as part of our KPIs. So all that ties back on giving them some extra hands, and not only just hands, like who knows the system, who have done this time and again. So I think that's where the tri-part or the triangle works really well. But yes, because the customer wants to save their cost, right? So they have a steady budget. They need to save their cost. So just to explain them the reasons behind that, and also you have to be careful not to finger point to customer, because mostly if the delays are like, we need to come to the conclusion, like what exactly triggered this change. Because is it a delay, or is it a change in the requirement, or data, or what? So depending upon the reason around the change, it's always easier to communicate and coordinate with, when we have consultancy in the middle, because they understand the tender, they understand the contract, they understand the requirement, everything, and then also the customer side of it.
Ultimately, we do hold the interests of the client. However, the interests of the client mean the project's delivered well, and that's the balancing act that we play. But also, a lot of the negotiations we have, and we've had some frank conversations, the client just won't accept it. So I would say in terms of speed, it's actually quicker.
Yeah.
Because rather than presenting something, it goes around the houses and gets bounced back. We know from the relationship we hold on the client side that will, well, should I say, is more likely to get accepted than maybe the first, second or third draft of it.
Agree. Yep. You would hope and expect that they would have a project lead who would own the project and therefore have the authority to decide.
We have a very structured change management process also. So we know when to trigger it, so how to trigger it. So there is a structured step-by-step change management process. And the final authority sits with customer end of the day. And that's where we bring any change to the steerco upfront, like a month earlier or so, as an early warning to customer that this is going to, come to the table maybe in 3 or 4 weeks of time. So they get early warning. They do their prep work. They speak to business stakeholders who have requested for that change. So they come prepared, informed, but final authority of the approval sits with maybe the project sponsor or whosoever is the key stakeholder from customer side to approve or not.
So we know we are negotiating or agreeing in good faith with the client side advisor. The customer, because they've employed you to do that job, has full faith and confidence in what you're doing. It actually is something that really speeds up the process.
Fundamentally, what fails is they say they will take it on, but they don't truly understand what that means. And actually, it means not that you do half the amount of deliverables, because you're going to get half the outcome and half the value. You have to do all of them.
Yes, you have to pay for those services because that's what we expect and what you would expect. But let's look at what that means for you in terms of return on investment. So you really need to think about it in that context.
It's like, well, I don't need I don't need a head of finance or a finance function or this, that. I've got it. Whereas I see us as the intelligent client function in that it's a function that needs to exist. That is a function.
Yeah, I agree.
And
it is about, and I think we've spoken about this before, but it is about that resourcing aspect of it as well.
Yeah.
To back up your point is that don't assume that somebody in your organization has the capacity to take this on as part of their day-to-day job. So it doesn't work like that.
No.
And it needs to be thought through as a full-time process that needs to deliver success.
It's not the capex figure, so to speak. It's the value that they will not gain from that project well into the future. And unfortunately, a failed project doesn't mean you replace it in 2 years' time.
They need to be informed ahead of starting any such transformation program, who all they need, the capacity of their employees, the technology, and can they deliver it or not? And also the people, do they really know what to deliver? I mean, someone can say, yes, I can manage change, as you said, right? Change requests or change management, I can do change management or program delivery, but they really don't know the nuances around an ERP implementation if they have not done that similar ERP transformation programs.
Whenever we start these projects, the first thing I get told is, do you want to see the solution I got now? And, just make sure that it can do what that solution does. And that's fundamentally where the failure of these projects lie. The business does it. They don't know what they don't know.
Exactly.
They only know what they do today. Pushing us out of the comfort zone is we talk about it because it isn't something we naturally do. And that goes to the same with ERP implementations in that everybody has to step out of their comfort zone. And actually the metric is around adoption and have we taken standard but they are not metrics that the business would acknowledge.
Yeah, and I think as well, if you think about, let's face it, when we go into a lot of clients, they have a disparate set of systems running different parts of their organization,
All in their silos.
and they all live in their little silos,
Yeah.
and that's what they're used to. And let's face it, what we started at the top of this talking about business transformation, and that business transformation means incorporating everything into a single platform, which delivers huge amounts of benefits from an efficiency and a return on investment perspective.
Yeah.
It's about focusing on the value you are going to derive about what you will do in the future.
Definitely you try to reduce the risk as much as possible, but not at the cost of scope creep. Rather, what we did was like we moved few things to the later stages, that let's not do it right now, reduce the risk so that we have the, we say minimum viable product. We have the foundation set, and then we can add bells and whistles on top of it.
We've got lots of experience doing this, both client side and delivery side. And so we know how it works well to mitigate risk as much as possible. We would always work in collaboration with the customer as part of that, and it would always be part of the conversation.
So when you deliver the processes and the changes slowly, they also learn on the journey. They also understand what's exactly is the new processes. And by the time something new comes up, they already are through with the existing one. And also we get enough time to stabilize what we have already gone live with. So that's in nutshell, it helps everyone to get the ROI on time, to adopt the systems and to stabilize the systems, and to be a successful system on board.